Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the 10-game main slate for Wednesday, August 22nd. We do have a 4-game early slate, but I do not believe I'm going to be playing the early slate today, so I do not want to cover it if I'm not going to be playing it. So we'll just focus on the night slate, the 10 games we have tonight. We'll do like we normally do, talk about pitching, the stud pitchers we want to go to. If there's mid-range pitchers, we'll talk about them as well, and if there's any value I see, I'll be sure to cover that. We'll go through the bats, talk about some hitters I like, talk about stacks I like, and go through BVP as well for those of you interested in that. But before we do get started, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel and you have not subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. But starting off at pitcher today, we have 4 options over 10K. We have Jack Flaherty, Walker Buehler, Noah Syndergaard, and Clay Buchholz. Just looking at these 4 guys, I really only have interest in one guy, and that's Noah Syndergaard at 10,200. Syndergaard's definitely one of my top pitchers on this slate. The matchup's right at home against the Giants. This is a Giants team that I'm not really afraid to take pitchers against if it's the right pitcher. Syndergaard's the right pitcher. This guy, we know he's a really good, talented arm. I know he hasn't been the same since coming off the DL. We really haven't seen him go out and just run through some teams, but this could be a spot where Syndergaard really mows down this lineup. It's just not a good lineup. It's just a lineup that has a lot of strikeouts now. Looks like Buster Posey's going to be out for the season for the Giants. They're going to have Nick Hundley as their catcher. Nick Hundley, much worse of a hitter than Posey and does strike out a lot more. So putting Hundley in the lineup adds more Ks to the lineup. Just a lot of upside here for Syndergaard. He's at home. The Giants only have a 3.3 implied run total. It's a good pitcher's park. I think Syndergaard, easily the top projected arm on this slate, and definitely a guy I'm going to have a ton of exposure to. Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler are not really guys I think I'm going to be interested in, especially with them being similarly priced to Syndergaard. I'd just rather play Syndergaard at 10-2, and then Clay Buchholz at 10K. Against the Angels, I don't mind that matchup, but Buchholz for 10K, I just don't want to play that on a 10-game slate. So Syndergaard's really the only stud I have interest in. If we look in this mid-range, not a lot of plays here I really like. Strasburg, believe he's coming off the DL. He might be limited in his start at home against the Phillies. Not sure I really want to go there at 9,900. Carlos Carrasco, you could roll the dice in tournaments against Boston, but I rarely play pitchers against Boston. But Carrasco is cheap. He's on the road where he does pitch a lot better. I could see going to him in tournaments. Zach Eflin against the Nationals, I'm not going there. The Nationals, their lineup is just too good. John Lester, not a pitcher I really think is that good. He's facing the Tigers, and although the Tigers are not very good, Lester's just not a pitcher I really play. A couple guys in this mid-tier that I do see myself playing today would probably be Lance Lynn at 8K against the Marlins. I could see wanting to go there. John Gray at 7,800 against the Padres at home. I really like, especially in tournaments. John Gray is definitely a mid-tier pitcher I feel like I'm going to be pretty heavy on today. I don't expect him to be very popular since he's going to be pitching in Coors Field, and people rarely take pitchers in Coors. But John Gray has shown this year that he can definitely have some success in Coors. He is better on the road, but this is a good matchup. Even though he's having to pitch at home, it's a good matchup for him. Facing a Padres team that we know strikes out a ton versus right-handed pitching. He has faced this team 3 times this year and has averaged 23 DraftKings points in those 3 starts, 23.5 to be exact. He's been able to get Ks, 24 strikeouts through those 3 games, so he's averaged 8 Ks per game. Against the Padres, even though they're in Coors Field, they only have a 4.2 implied run total for today. You would imagine the Rockies are going to be able to rough up Jacob Nix and give John Gray some run support. I really like him here. I think he's a really good option. Might go away from him in cash games. If you're looking for a safer play, I would say don't play John Gray just because I don't know how safe he is pitching in Coors. But for tournaments, the upside's there. If he comes at low ownership, I am definitely going to be heavy on John Gray today. Then other pitchers, if we're trying to find value, there's not a lot of value that I really like today that at least is really, really cheap. The one guy I could see going to would be Casey Kelly, just because he's 5K, he's dirt cheap, and he's facing the Mets. And the Mets really struggle to hit the ball at home. It's a good pitcher's park for Casey Kelly. Really the value, though, is why I like him. 5K for a pitcher that's going to pitch a full 5-6 innings, 80, 90 pitches. I could see going to him as a cheap option, but he's really the only value that I think is playable. So let's talk about the bats. There are definitely some expensive bats I want to play on this slate. With that Coors Field game, with the Rockies having a 6 implied run total, we are definitely going to want to beat on some Rockies bats. So we'll start in the outfield. Look at Charlie Blackmon here, who is definitely one of the top plays on this slate in my opinion, versus Jacob Nix. Jacob Nix, I feel like, is really going to struggle here. He struggled in his last start against the Diamondbacks. I believe he had like -11 DraftKings points. Things aren't going to get easier for him today. He's going to have to travel to Coors Field and face a Rockies team that just hits the ball really well at home. This lineup, definitely my top stack on this slate, and it's not really close. I'm not really going to get too cute here. I'm going to have plenty of Rocky stacks today. These guys are all playable for me. Tony Walters would probably be the one guy I'd shy away from, but Blackmon, LeMahieu, Gonzalez, 1 through 7, definitely going to have a lot of exposure to that, and Blackmon, absolutely love here at 5,400. Then another team I think I'm going to be pretty heavy on is the Cubs versus Liriano, so I love Javier Baez today. 5K, I don't feel like he's going to be that popular today because of, you got Arenado at 5,400, you've got Cargo in Coors Field at 5,300. If people are going to play any hitters 5K and above, they're just going to look at the Coors Field. So we might get Baez at some low ownership here. It's a great matchup for him against Liriano. Liriano's terrible. This is a great spot for the Cubs. We look at this Cubs projected lineup and their implied run total. This is a team that I definitely want to stack. They've got a 5.3 implied run total. They've got some value in their lineup. If Almora leads off, you can play him at 4,100. David Bodie, I love here at 3,600, projected at third. You've got Baez in there, obviously. Happ, I prefer versus righties, but you could go to Happ at 3,900, projected at 6. Contreras, as a cheap catcher, 3,800, you could definitely play. I just love the Cubs here. Love Baez, definitely another guy I'm going to be very heavy on in tournaments. And I mentioned David Bodie. He's another guy that I really like from the Cubs. He's one of my favorite value plays on this slate. 3,600, hopefully he bats towards the top of the lineup. He should, since it's a lefty on the mound. Bodie usually bats third or fourth. So he should be right in the middle of that lineup for a Cubs team that I think is going to put up runs here versus Liriano. Love Bodie in this spot. Love his price tag. The guy's actually a pretty good hitter. He's shown power this year. He's shown power versus lefties, and Liriano is a lefty we know that will really struggle with right-handed bats. Almora, Bodie, Baez, Happ, Contreras, those are the guys I really like. You could still play the lefties, though. Hayward, Rizzo, I think are definitely playable. But love the righties. Bodie and Baez are definitely my two favorites. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for today. Noah Syndergaard, John Gray, Javier Baez, David Bodie, and Charlie Blackmon. Now we'll talk about some stacks that I like for today. We'll talk about some of the stacks that I feel like I'm going to be very heavy on. Number 1 for me is the Rockies, and it's not really close. Love the Rockies here. Love the Cubs as well. The Cubs are definitely my number 2 stack. And if we're looking at other stacks, maybe some contrarian options that might come at low ownership that have upside. There isn't much I love besides those 2 teams. Like, we've got a lot of low totals besides those 2 teams. I guess you could consider some of these righties from the Indians against Brian Johnson. He's shown he's shown the ability to struggle versus righties this year. So Lindor, Ramirez, I both prefer when they're facing a right-handed pitcher, but even versus lefties, these guys are still really good hitters. Like Yandy Diaz, Geyer, I guess you could go there, but that's not a stack I love. I definitely just feel like I'm going to be very heavy on the Rockies today, very heavy on the Cubs. Not really any other teams I'm going to be too heavy on besides those 2. So we'll go ahead and move on to BVP plays. For those of you interested in BVP, I'll talk about some of the top BVP plays on this slate. We'll start off with Gregory Polanco. He's gone 4 for 11 versus Julio Teheran. Mitch Moreland, 5 for 14 with 3 home runs versus Carlos Carrasco. JD Martinez, 9 for 25 with 2 home runs versus Carrasco. Jason Hayward, 6 for 17 versus Liriano. Victor Martinez, 8 for 19 with a home run versus Lester. Starlin Castro, 14 for 38 versus Lance Lynn. Will Myers, 8 for 23 with a home run versus John Gray. David Peralta, 7 for 16 with a home run versus Despaigne. And Albert Pujols has gone 7 for 18 with 2 home runs versus Clay Buchholz. So that's it for BVP, guys. These are my 5 plays. I think I covered all the stacks I like. So I think that is it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and hopefully it did help you. If you did enjoy, before you do get out of here, just make sure you click that like button. It lets me know that you enjoyed the video, and it just motivates me to keep uploading these videos daily for you guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, like I mentioned at the beginning as well, make sure you click that subscribe button before you get out of here. Going to be ramping out MLB videos daily. Obviously, when NFL season starts, we're going to be putting out NFL videos as well. So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you turn on notifications so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. And if you do have any questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And good luck tonight on this 10-game slate, guys. Peace.